Children, let's continue on page number 43. He says, I should say not, said the other. I'll give him half an hour at least, that he will give half an hour at least to his friend to come. If Jimmy is alive on earth, he will be here by that time. So long, officer. Good night, sir, said the policeman, passing on along his beat, trying doors as he went. Okay, so checking doors as he went. There was now a fine cold drizzle falling. Drizzle is rainfall which is a bit thick, okay, and the wind had risen from its uncertain puffs into steady blow. So earlier the wind was unsteady, okay, now it was blowing steadily. The few pedestrians in the neighborhood hurried dismally and silently along with the coat collars turned high and pocketed hands. This was the scene and the surroundings. And in the door of the hardware store, the man who had come 1,000 miles to keep an appointment, uncertain almost to absurdity, with the friend of his youth, smoked a cigar and waited. So he's just waiting there, uncertain almost to absurdity means that he was almost uncertain whether his friend would come or not. He was a bit dubious, okay, with the friend of his youth. And friend of his youth refers to the friend Jimmy Wells. About 20 minutes he waited, and then a tall man in long overcoat with collar turned up to his ears hurried across from the opposite side of the street. He went directly to the waiting man. Is that you, Bob? He asked doubtfully. Is that you, Jimmy Wells? Cried the man in the door. Bless my heart, exclaimed the new arrival, grasping the other's hands with his own. It's Bob, sure at fate. I was certain I would find you here if you were still in existence. Still in existence means I was very much sure that I would surely find you here if you were really alive. Well, 20 years is a long time. The old restaurant is gone. Bob, I wish it had lasted so we could have another dinner here. How has the West treated you, old man? So this is, that means the man who was standing and waiting with his cigar, that rich man was named as Bob, right? And the person who had come appeared to be Jimmy Wells. So he asked, how has the West treated you? It has given me everything I asked it for. You have changed lots, Jimmy. I've never thought you were so tall by 2 or 3 inches. Oh, I grew a bit after I was 20. Doing well in New York, Jimmy? Moderately. Moderately means not too much in a normal way. I have a position in one of the city departments. Come on, Bob. We'll go around to a place I know of and have a good long talk about old times. So they go together. The two men started up street arm in arm. The two men started walking with their hands arm in arm with each other, all together. One, his egotisms enlarged by success. Now this is a description, the comparison of two people. One, his egotism enlarged by success was beginning to outline the history of his career. The other, submerged in his overcoat, listened with interest. So this was the comparison. This is the comparison is being made between the two people. One had, one of the friend had full ego in him. His vanity had increased because of his success. And who was that man? It was Bob, right? And the other submerged in his overcoat. The other person had almost, he was just sunk in his overcoat, and he listened with interest. At the corner stood a drugstore, brilliant with electric lights. So there was a medical store there. When they came into this glare, each of them turned simultaneously to gaze upon each other's face. So both of them, there was a light over there, in that drugstore. So both of them just turned to each other to see each other's face. The man from the West stopped suddenly and released the other's arm. You're not Jimmy Wells, he snapped. 20 years is a long time, but not long enough to change a man's nose from a Roman to a pug. Now here Bob could identify that man. Okay, he could see the face and recall that this is not 20 years, though it's a long time, but it could not change the shape, the facial features of a person. Roman to a pug means that two distinctly shaped noses could not be changed so much. It sometimes changes a good man into a bad one, said the tall man. Okay, 20 years may not change. 20 years, though it's a long time, may not change the facial features of a person, but it can change a good man into a bad one. So he made a sarcastic remark over here. You have been under arrest for 10 minutes. Silky Bob. Why Silky Bob? Silk is a symbol of the rich people. So here Bob was almost a rich man with, diamonds and, studs and all. A good, richness on his office attire. Chicago thinks you may have dropped over our way and wires us. She wants to have a chat with you. Chicago over here refers to the headquarters, the police headquarters of Chicago have, sent a message. Wires us means has sent a message that about you, that you are on this way and wants to have a chat with you, have a talk with you. Going quietly, are you? So he just makes a sarcastic remark that you are going very quietly. You will come along with going quietly, are you? That means you're going to come along with me in a quiet way without any struggle. So won't you? That's sensible. Now before we go to the station, here's a note I was asked to hand to you. You may read it here at the window. It's from Patrolman Wells. Now children, here it's the climax of the story. The man from the west unfolded the little piece of paper handed to him. His hand was steady when he began to read, but it trembled a little by the time he had finished. The note was rather short. So this was a note given. Bob, I was at the appointed place on time. When you struck the match to light your cigar, I saw it. It was the face of the man wanted in Chicago. Somehow I couldn't do it myself, so I went around and got a plainclothes man to do the job. Did you understand? Now, who was the first policeman who met Bob? It was his dear friend, and this man, Jimmy Wells, was a wanted personality. Okay, so that means he was not a good person. He had taken up a wrong means. That means he must be a smuggler. Okay, therefore he was there. He was a wanted man, and the policeman did not want to arrest his own friend. He had recognized him at the first sight only, but then he sent another man to arrest him. So this is what the climax of the story is. It's all. Please read it again on your own.